I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-Minute Convos, where I help you create a brand of your own unique, real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good night, Tom Trush. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful night?
I'm doing wonderful. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, great pleasure connecting with you, Tom. Tell us, what part of the world are you in right now?
I am in Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, sweet. And which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this time?
Well, from what I understand, you had interviewed a co-host of mine on our podcast, the Business Marketing Insider podcast, and Andy Rank is his name, and I think that's how we connected through him. And on that podcast, we talk a lot of marketing topics. We like to say tips and topics that drive leads, loyalty, and sales.
Yeah, he was amazing. Did he tell you that I'm dangerous? That when you come on the podcast, I'm dangerous? Did he say that?
No, he didn't say you're dangerous.
I'm joking. So who did you learn the skill of marketing from?
Well, within marketing, I focus a lot on copywriting, which is basically the words that persuade people to take some type of action, the written words. And I started in a newsroom. My background is in journalism. I got my degree in journalism, and then worked in a newsroom for a while. And that's where I was introduced to the first introduction to copywriting. And what happened is, it's kind of a long story. I won't go into it fully here, but it was actually a book where I really discovered that what I do now is even an option for a career. So once I discovered that, I continued to consume a lot of books on copywriting. And then when it comes to copywriting, the best way to get better at it, to improve your skill, is to just keep writing. And so that's really how I learned, is through books and just continuing to write and study the persuasive side of marketing.
That's exciting. It sounds like fun.
Oh, yeah, it's great fun. Yeah, I love it.
Oh, so tell me, do you talk the way you write, or do you find that there's a disconnect?
That's a big thing. Is I really try to write the same way that I talk, because something weird happens when people sit down to write, especially marketing copy, is they think they have to sound really smart and use these really long words and long sentences. But the most effective copy oftentimes is written just the way that you have conversations, and using the same language, using the same format. So definitely focus on the way that you talk and you have conversations to create the most effective marketing copy.
Which brings me to another question, which is, do you find that there's a pulse in the way you have the conversation? And just to explain myself a bit more, is it like I know when we were going to school, there was the climax. Well, there was the introduction and then the climax and then the ending, right? Do you do a similar type format?
Yes, in a way. And a lot of times that, going back to the conversational format, there are ups and downs. And so when it comes to marketing copy, kind of unlike a conversation, you really want to start strong, because you have to get people's interest, especially when it comes to advertising or marketing. I mean, we're so used to toning out, especially when it comes to advertising. If we think it's an advertising message or a marketing message, we have to, our minds just naturally ignore it. And so the beginning of what you're writing is critical, because you have to grab that attention, and then you got to take that attention and you've got to build on it. So, there could be lulls in conversation, but when it comes to marketing copy, you got to keep the attention pretty high, and you got to give people a reason to keep on reading or to keep going deeper in your marketing, or you've lost them. And once you've lost them, there's really no way to get them back.
Yeah, sounds like a dance.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I'm not a good dancer, but,
I'm a good copywriter. You could say that. That's amazing. So why will you continue to repeat this skill, Tom?
Well, there's definitely a need out there. And, I think for me personally, the reason that I'll continue to do it is, I love it. Once I read this book, and the book that really opened my world, the copywriting world to me, was called The Well-Fed Writer by Peter Bowerman. And this was probably, I want to say this was like 15 years ago that I came across this book. And just my passion for copywriting continues to grow, because you have to constantly keep on learning. And the marketing world is changing. There's always new um, there's new tools getting added, with social media. There's always something coming into the industry. So it keeps you on your toes, and it requires a lot of research. So it never gets boring. There's
Hmm.
always something. There's always something that you got to keep on top of.
Well, do tell me one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years.
This is going to seem kind of odd, but one of the big parts of my writing where I get my best ideas is I'm a big runner. I like to run long distances, and so I run and have been doing it for far more than just 3 years. But my days start early, and I go out and I listen to podcasts and I listen to different trainings, different interviews, and that's something. The combination of the running, listening to uh, educational stuff from other people, that triggers ideas for my business, and especially when it comes to copywriting, because it's not only the subject matter that piques my interest, but you listen to the format, you listen to how people are presenting items, and if it gets your interest and it gets your attention, then you kind of take note. And so it's been a great way to help build my skills as a copywriter by simply running every day. They're unrelated items, but I really found a way to make it work.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, how does it make you feel when you're doing that? When it connects, like when you're running and then it's like, oh, that's what that is.
Man, I can't. There are times where I'm running and I cannot wait to get back in front of my computer to just jot stuff down. Or, I'll be out there and I'll have my phone with me and I just take voice recordings, or I'll type something out to myself. It's what keeps my excitement high because, like I kind of said before, there's always something new, and you're never at a loss for new techniques or new styles or new formats that you can introduce into your copy. So, I mean, it keeps my excitement high at all times. And if I don't run, well, then I start noticing it. I'm like, it's not depression, but it's kind of like I'm not as excited,
Yeah, there's a funk, right?
Right. That's exactly it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, suggest to someone out there why they should find that thing that definitely gives the value, right? That. Well, before you even do that, let's point someone that may be interested in what you're offering. Where's the best place for them to go?
The best way is my website is probably best, and my website's rightwaysolutions.com, and right is WRITE, so rightwaysolutions.com.
Love it. Yeah, suggest to someone out there that's listening why they should definitely ensure that they find that is it a vent or is it a source of their talent, or how do I put it into a sentence? Can you help me with this, copywriter?
What do you mean?
Yeah, can you help me with the question? Like, how would you suggest to someone, right? I'm trying to sum this up in a way where you suggest to someone that they find something similar to what you've done through running.
Oh, right. Well, here's the thing. I think with running and writing, like I said, there isn't a lot of connections between the two. But why I like it is that it puts your mind at ease. And like I said before, when people sit down to write marketing copy, they put a lot of pressure on themselves. It's tough to look at a blank screen and figure out what to write. And because you're trying to think of the perfect words. So if you do something like running, or sometimes how when you're just sitting in the shower, you get good ideas. You always hear about that all the time. You just have to find that activity where your mind is at ease and you take the pressure off yourself, and that's what makes writing much easier, is when you're not just looking at a blank page. And the other thing is, like I said, when I'm running, I will record my voice, and when people are struggling to figure out what to write for their marketing copy, that's often what I'll suggest to them. Don't write it, just speak it out first. Whether you're running, whether you're out walking, whatever it is, just record yourself and then transcribe what you have said. And now you at least have a starting point, and it's a lot easier to write from words that are always already on the paper than starting with a blank sheet.
Love it. Well, amazing audience. We're definitely live right here with Tom Trush. Again, you can reach out at rightwaysolutions.com. Tom, let's switch gears for a moment now and let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Tom, what is your earliest childhood memory?
My earliest childhood memory, I have a twin brother, and my earliest memories are just hanging out with my brother. With a twin, you always have a built-in friend, and everything that we've done, even up to this point, I'm 42 years old, and I still do lots of stuff with my twin brother, even though he lives 1,500 miles away from me.
Wow.
But we still figure ways to get together, and those early childhood memories, it's just us, playing around, and I can remember specifically one where we're in about 3 years old. We're in one of those plastic pools in the backyard, and just riding tricycles and jumping in and out of the pool. So nothing earth-shattering on the memory. It's just like the simple stuff, and just how appreciative that I am of having a twin brother.
Well, can I offer an interpretation to the simple memory that you shared right there?
Yeah. What? Oh, it is simple. You're asking for an interpretation?
Yeah, well, yeah, give us. Do you have an interpretation? That should be fun.
Well, I mean, that's my interpretation. Like I said,
Okay, well, can I offer my interpretation?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom, I think it's really fascinating that even at that point in time that you found so much value in being active. And to see that you are that active person now, I mean, your twin isn't there, but to see you running and being that person side and side with you. I mean, like when you're running, right? There's okay, you should stop now. No, you should keep going. Oh, you're tired. Or your knees are hurting. It's just intriguing how the mirroring that's going on there, that has now connected you to find the source of your content writing.
Yeah. Yep. It's interesting how it all kind of works together.
My friend, I am here and I'm intrigued. If we fast forwarded to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
My favorite song when I was 12, boy. Back then there was a group called Starship, and they had a song called "We Built This City." I don't know if you recall this, but that was a big. Do you recall it?
Yeah, on Rock and Roll, right?
Yeah. Yep. And that song, what made it so, I guess, important to me is there was a basketball group that did a lot of ball handling tricks at halftime at a local college. And I remember watching them, and they came out to perform to that song. And I remember thinking, man, how cool would that be to be in that group and to be out there and performing with them and get out onto the court with that song playing. So it had a big place in my heart. And ultimately, I did end up doing that. I did end up performing with that group and going out on the court to that song. So It was a big deal back then.
Yeah, love it. Well, it's fascinating how things can connect as well. I'm intrigued, right? And I'm just throwing connections here, right? Dots, right? Because I'm here all the way in Trinidad just on the sound of your voice. But I do love the connections of the twins. Well, the twin, you and your brother, right? What's your brother's name, though?
Dale.
Oh, Dale. Okay, so yeah, I like the twin aspect of things, the rock and roll, right? The Tom and Trush, right? The tease there, and just, you being with you and riding together. It's just amazing how the two things are running where it's always side and side. Does it make sense?
Yeah, total sense. Yeah.
It's fascinating. It's definitely fascinating. Well, Tom, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there is a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Tom?
Sure thing.
Tom, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
I've tried to pass them on. I'm trying to pass them on to my kids.
Are you married?
Yes, I am.
How many children do you have?
I have 2 kids. I have a 9-year-old son and a 12-year-old daughter.
Wow. Do you believe in God?
Yes, sure.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes, a very close inner circle. I sure do.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No, not normally. Occasionally before bed, but not more than 3 hours a day.
About 3 hours a week, probably?
Yeah, I'm big into sports, and so Saturdays watching college football, college basketball, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yep. What about screen time, the phone and the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Oh, it's more, for sure.
Tell me, if you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who you are, what would you say that is?
Well, it's nothing too original, but it's only failure when you stop trying. I know there's similar quotes out there to that, but I have come to that statement so many times in my life, and especially in my world of marketing. That's a huge thing, because many people will try things in marketing, and if it doesn't work the first time, they just quit. And true success in business and marketing comes from repeated attempts at doing something that you're not used to doing.
Love it. Tom Crush, my apologies. Tom Trush, I did that right. Tom,
Yeah.
Thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you, Angel. I appreciate you having me. It was good times.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.